Hello everyone, welcome back to our pre-E3 discussion. If you missed part 1, which focused on all the non-Nintendo E3 presents, there will be a link to that video in the description below. I'm your host Tris, and I'm joined by Wolfman and Phantom Z2, this time for our Nintendo section of this discussion. With that, let's get back to it. I think it's time we dive into what might be our longest part of the discussion now, Nintendo.
Oh, this is kind of the part that I was most scared about because there's so much to talk about, and it's like, right.
There really is.
So we've got so much with Nintendo that it says, okay, so going on the schedule, we have the Nintendo Direct for noon Eastern Time on Tuesday, June 12th. But I do want to ask first, do you guys think at the Splatoon tournament, which starts the night before, so Monday, June 11th, and then they have the finals later in the day on Tuesday, do you think we'll get some sort of announcement in regards to, I guess, the big, like, the auto expansion at one of those tournaments for it?
Yes.
Instead of in the Direct, I should say.
I think if they mention it in the Direct, it'll be like whatever they announce in the Splatoon 2 World Championships.
Yeah.
But I'm personally expecting two things out of the championship.
Okay.
I'm expecting a release date. I'm actually not even just a release date. I'm actually kind of expecting Octo Expansion to be downloadable right after the World Championship.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Maybe what we're both gonna say is, traditionally Nintendo has had this history of having one of these showings come up like the night before their presentation at E3, and then saying a big surprise, oh, here's this thing we're going to show, oh, big surprise, it's actually downloadable, whether that is, say, Earthbound Beginnings, or the first Smash DLC wave, or...
At GDC, they announced, they were giving the idea that they want to bring the concerts over to America.
Oh,
so I
that's
think
right.
I think after the finals, which is actually 9 a.m. PT on June 12th. Well, no, my bad, wrong. It's 1 p.m. on June 12th.
Yeah, it's after the Direct.
Yes, after the Direct. I think we might get like a concert. So I think they would have the concert and then maybe show off a new trailer for Octoling, for the Octo expansion.
Okay.
And then bam, you can download it right now. That I would like that. I don't. But I know people are. What was it? One of my friends was saying that it'd be pretty weird. It would be pretty weird for them to just announce it randomly like that and say, "Hey, there's a concert here," or just like a surprise concert here, and then like maybe a lot of people don't know, and then they end up missing it. So I can understand that, but I would love for that to just have like a surprise concert at the end, like to congratulate the winners of the tournament.
Yeah.
While I do think that would be interesting, I could see them announcing a concert for like later in the summer, and then the winners get tickets to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Just so that there's like time for it to sound a surprise. They have time to hype people up for it.
Yeah, and then having maybe having one like secret surprise, like, performance. No. There at the end, it's just a couple minutes.
Maybe not like a full-on concert, maybe.
Yeah. Besides, people gotta still stay up for the Smash stuff right afterwards.
Yep, exactly. So before getting into the Smash stuff, so let's go back to specifically the Nintendo Direct. So we have from the Twitch E3 schedule, it seems like this Nintendo Direct is going to be about 45 minutes long, if this is correct. What's interesting about that is that's twice as long as last year's. And we got a lot of stuff announced last year.
Last year's was how long?
Last year's was only about 25 minutes.
I'm just gonna check the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and while you check that, I personally think it's 45 minutes because they're going to be dedicating probably about 10 minutes to specifically Smash. And having Sakurai in there and talking about it and giving... kind of like what you saw in like the Smash Direct, for example, that we got way back when for Smash Wii U and 3DS, where he talked about some changes and things like that, because I think that'd be important for them to do during the Direct instead of at any other time. So kind of like when they gave like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 its own like 10-minute segment, I think they need to do that for this, and instead of it scaring people by only being like 20 minutes and then suddenly half of it Smash, it'll be 45 minutes and only like a quarter of it is Smash, and then the rest can still be that quick fire announcements if they want it to be.
with the way that they're calling it a Nintendo Direct, I kind of get that feeling that they're gonna set it up like a Direct, like where they're listing off things at like point blank speed. It's just like okay, move into the next thing, move into the next thing, and then at the end, smash. But it's very weird for me because although I kind of don't want Smash to be the last thing that they talk about, the way that I kind of want it to happen is that it really does depend on how they decide to do it, because I guess when it comes to Smash, I'd also need to talk about other things that they would do. So in regards to what I hope to see at E3, Nintendo's E3 presentation, I'm expecting to see Fire Emblem Switch. That's what, because they announced that before. Yeah. They announced that there's something coming to Switch, and I really hope that it's something, well, like a new game, like not like a remake, how they recently did with the last 2DS game. And so,
in regarding the structure, that in E3 2014, what they did was they started with Smash, then they did the rest of the show, and they ended it with the Palutena trailer. I think it's probably going to be something similar where we see Smash, we see some extra information, and then like have it kind of sprinkled throughout the rest of the show.
Right. That's kind of how I want it.
Yeah.
That's very much how I want it to be. Because what I would like to see is that the way that they ended off the March Direct was that they had Smash, they had the Inklings with the fireball coming their eye, which is a meme at this point. But I really want them to keep up. I really want them to keep that up, where like maybe at the end of the Fire Emblem Switch trailer, they show off the protagonist, and then it just goes dark, and he turns around and he sees the Smash Ball. I think if whichever characters get into Smash and they have like a game dedicated to them that's coming out on the Switch, I think if they end off a trailer like each one, like say if if they show off, instead of they showing off the active expansion at the Splatoon 2 World Championships, they show a bit more of it off of her release date at the Direct. Then they go into like an Inklings trailer, or say if they I guess stuff like that. But outside of Smash, I'm expecting like Yoshi, finally word on Yoshi, because we haven't really heard much about that at all. Yoshi, Fire Emblem. There's something else.
We know Pokemon Let's Go will be shown at E3.
Well, we know it'll be playable at E3 as well.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it'll have at least a little bit of time in the Direct.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Although I kind of don't want it shown, but like I'm okay with it being shown, because but I don't think there'll be much to show. That's the one thing that I'm really afraid of, because of the fact that Let's Go is basically a remake of Pokemon Yellow. I'm a bit afraid of what will they have to show, because I know a lot of people haven't really been mentioning this, or a lot of people don't really like to say that it is, but Pokemon Let's Go are mainline titles, as stated by, I believe, Ishihara. So not only that, but it was also stated that Pokemon Let's Go are also connected to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Oh, are they? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
there was there was a tweet stating that Ishihara stated that Ultra Sun and Ultra. I believe I do have a bookmark, so if I could read it directly, so I'm not getting it wrong or anything.
Okay.
But no, to just expand on that, in the Pokemon Let's Go trailer, there's a moment at the end where they say something like how there will be a brand new Pokemon experience or a brand new Pokemon or something along those lines, and you see a Pokeball, or there will be mysterious new content, and it shows like a Pokeball opening, so it's probably along the lines of a like surprise Gen 8 Pokemon, or like a Gen 7 Pokemon that they'll patch into the game that we don't know about. And that will presumably you can presumably connect with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon over that.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be too outlandish, because, what was it, we've seen how Monster Hunter Double Cross can actually, well, now I should be calling Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate when it comes to the Americas in, I believe, August. We've seen it actually has functionality where you can, I believe, send your save data over to Monster Hunter, the Switch game. So if there's something like that where there's some connection like that between the two that would be pretty cool. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
totally expecting it, considering the fact that Let's Go is a different type of game where you're not really battling as much when it comes to wild Pokemon, even though I don't think that'll stop them. I think that because of how different it ends up being from the original mainline games, even though it is a mainline game itself, I think it'll be very weird with how they,
Yeah.
what specifically they decide to do to make the two more connected.
It's also not something that's unprecedented in Pokemon itself, because in the first Mystery Dungeon games, you could get a Manaphy and then trade it to Diamond and Pearl.
Right. Yes, I remember things like that.
I think we're probably going to get it more of a thing on why, like, Let's Go is going to be of interest to like players who may otherwise kind of dismiss it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I also agree that Fire Emblem Switch will definitely be shown.
So, actually, okay, so speaking of Fire Emblem, if we get it revealed during this, because I remember way back when they did the whole thing with Fire Emblem Heroes, they announced they were working on the mainline Fire Emblem game for Switch. Since then, we've also had the announcement of, like, Metroid Prime 4 is in production, and Bayonetta 3 are in production. Do you guys think we're going to see all of these in this, or just Fire Emblem, because we've known about that longest?
Not. I don't think we'll see all of them. I think we'll see some of them. I think we might see Bayonetta 3.
Okay.
I'm honestly pretty suspicious of us seeing something from Metroid Prime 4.
Really? Okay.
I'm a bit suspicious about seeing both, honestly. It's hard, because since we all know that they're in development, it's hard for me to think that we'll see both at E3 at all. Maybe in, like, future directs, but at E3, even though E3 is, like, their big thing, that's, like, the best time to say something about it. I'm a bit doubtful.
Well, remember, Metroid Prime 4 was announced to be in development at last year's E3.
Right.
So, there's something there. Bayonetta 3's production announcement was only announced back at the Game Awards, I believe. But Fire Emblem's was even before last year's E3, if I remember correctly. So, I do think that and Metroid have the best chance of being revealed.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk about Star Fox, or specifically that Star Fox rumor?
I wouldn't go into specifics behind it, but we could talk about, like, if we do think it's going to happen or not.
I don't think it's real.
You don't think it's real?
I don't think it's real at all.
I'm kind of on the fence. Ultimately, though, I do think it's worth pointing out that, like, for the past, like, 2 or 3 years, I think we mostly all say something along the lines of, okay, we know that Retro Studios is working on something, but what are they working on?
Yes.
And, we did that in 2015, we did that in 2016, we did that in 2017. The longer it goes on, the weirder it feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if that's because they're just making this just unbelievably massive project, or if it's kind of, they keep having to throw out old ideas, which isn't, unprecedented for them either, because that's what happened with Metroid Prime. Miyamoto came in and basically forced them to make it a first-person shooter, because they were having trouble, like, kind of designing how you were going to move in the game.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I do have one thing to say about the Nintendo Direct in general that I'm surprised I didn't bring up already, actually, which is, I don't remember if they officially said it or not, but I do think this is going to follow the same format as last year's E3 presentation, where there's no 3DS content in the presentation itself. Anything 3DS will be saved for Treehouse Live.
Yeah, I can see that.
I strongly think that.
I'm also on the fence of, I'm kind of hoping for no 3DS content at all.
Oh, really?
Even though I don't want to dismiss people who have 3DSs, because I have a 3DS, but I don't play it anymore. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that we know as of right now is Bowser's Inside Story, the remake.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion, WarioWare Gold, and from third party, Persona Q2 hasn't had any more announcements other than the fact that it exists.
I can kind of see that getting even just something. And I think it would. I don't know where it would pop up, but I think it would be during Nintendo's Treehouse to guarantee that it gets shown.
I would like to see WarioWare get shown at least the Treehouse Live. Not necessarily in the big presentation, because mostly it seems to just be a huge remix of past games, but WarioWare is great. And you know what? It's been forever since Game & Wario came out.
The only last thing I'll say about 3DS is I do genuinely feel like we're going to see something for Zelda for 3DS, just based on like time frame and how much time has passed. I don't know if it's going to be that rumored Link's Awakening remake or something like new and small spin-off again, but I can genuinely see something happening for Zelda on 3DS that they save for Treehouse Live, show a little bit of, try to wow people with, and then you see everybody complaining, oh, but it's on 3DS. And that's about it.
Breath of the Wild 3DS.
Oh,
Breath of the Wild 3D, I wouldn't even want that, because that would not look pretty.
Well, you'd have to just make it a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that case, that's...
But I mean, that would be pretty funny.
Oh yeah, but that's actually would be pretty interesting. But on that note, what do you think about the possibility that Breath of the Wild itself gets sort of a Majora's Mask-esque kind of like companion game?
Ooh.
Like, and it's the same type of game, but it's like it's based on the same story, you mean?
No, I mean in the sense that it's basically kind of takes like 90% of the game, of the original game's assets, drastically changes the next 10%, mixes them all up, and turns it into just a completely different story.
I could see something like that being announced for like next year.
Yeah, it's probably too big compared to, say, Ocarina of Time to do that.
I could see it happening with, what was it, I haven't played the DLC, but with the way that the Breath of the Wild ended, it did seem like there's definitely more room for a story, but just continuing off from Breath of the Wild. So
yeah.
I think it's a game like that where it's still the core game, but well, not the core game. It's still the game's basis from Breath of the Wild, but just improved upon, kind of like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon from Sun and Moon, but I guess a bit bigger changes, considering the fact that this would most likely be, well, I don't think there's any doubt that this would be a $60 game, but just for the sake of building upon what's already been established.
I was going to say that part of the reason why Majora's Mask worked was that it used all those assets, but it just changed them up so like the worlds are actually different. The dungeons are drastically different. It's essentially a way to just be like, okay, well, you've had all these like things, now just kind of rearrange them in a different way and add some new mechanics with the time. But that's probably a little harder with the actual structure of the game.
Well, also think, like, for example, A Link Between Worlds to Triforce Heroes, like 2 years later, where it used the same engine and a lot of the same assets and such, but it still expanded upon it, and it was a new kind of game for it, but yeah, similar kind of thing, I would say.
Oh, so I did find a tweet about, in regards to Pokemon.
Okay.
I also do want to source where it's from, at Mystic Distance on Twitter. And the reason why I'm stating this because based on his bio, he states that he's a translator and secondary writer for Persona Central, Cage Insider, and many other sources. So what the tweet that he stated was during the press conference that they were having for Pokemon. Ishihara, Let's Go titles are the next mainline titles. These are actual follow-ups to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So, of course, this is not this isn't Gen 8, but it clearly isn't labeled as a spin-off, and it clearly is, by that statement. If there's actual follow-ups to Ultra Sun and Moon, I personally think with the whole Rainbow Rocket thing that happened at the end, I personally think it's more than just, these are the next mainline games after Ultra Sun and Moon. I think it's more of these games are also connected in story to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But that's only just me hoping. Because I love Pokemon lore, as many people don't really think that there is that much, but I definitely am big into Pokemon lore, so I hope that there's that connection. And if there's Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are shown at E3, I hope they show some more story outside of it, because all we know as of right now is that it's kind of like a main Pokemon game.
Yeah. I love Pokemon lore, and I think it's woefully underrated. That's a huge
I do find it fascinating.
Yeah, that's a big part of why I love Detective Pikachu so much.
Anything else in regards to Nintendo's E3?
So, I do want to ask, do you guys think we'll see any ports? And if so, how many?
I think a couple, but I don't think it's going to take up that much time, because they can do it for something like, an off-season direct.
Yeah.
But
Do you mean ports in terms of just like old Wii U games or ports in general?
Ports in general to the Switch, but more so, like, for example, the rumored new Super Mario Bros., which at this point I don't feel like it would be a port. I feel like it would be originally a port and now like a new game at this point. But
yeah,
anyway.
I should clarify that when I said that I meant Wii U ports specifically.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're. For the most part, I don't think they're particularly big sellers at E3. They work for like the normal directs because mostly just hardcore Nintendo fans watch them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It would have to be like a fairly big game getting ported. And
Well, I think Nintendo considers the new Super Mario Bros. Games to be pretty big, which is why I was thinking something like that. I could see being there and then be like, look, you can still do multiplayer with the Joy-Cons and have people try it there.
Yeah,
at E3.
I think a new Super Mario Brothers game isn't implausible. I don't think it's necessarily confirmed, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Ports, though, in general, definitely, especially Fortnite.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I think with ports, there has been a lot of. I think the biggest leak that actually has been very credible at this point, considering the fact that Paladins and Fortnite is as of what we know, Paladins has already been announced for. Well, Paladins just today was announced.
Yeah.
Switch,
Just today
and
got
it's
an
coming
actual
out.
announcement. Yeah.
Right, and it's coming out also June 12th. So that lines up pretty well. With Fortnite, I'm kind of expecting the same thing, as there was the eShop update recently, where those two games were found in the data. So I'm pretty sure Fortnite and it's no doubt that Fortnite and Paladins are coming to Switch, as Paladins was already announced. But there was also the banner leak that came out, I believe, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, where a list of games were a list of banner kiosks for games that you would be able to play at E3 appeared, and one of the games that was there was, I think, was probably really big for the Switch, as a lot of people were asking about it on its initial reveal, was Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Yep.
Although that one doesn't have Smash on it, which is odd.
Oh, did it not have Smash on it? I thought it did.
I'm looking
that leak did not have Smash on it, but a lot of people were claiming it had multiple pages and we were only shown one page of it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's mostly third parties and then Mario Tennis on there.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Oh yeah,
there was Overcooked 2 as well.
Yes.
I think that's a new game. I think. Because I've never played Overcooked.
It's new.
So.
It's new.
Okay.
Killer Black Queen is also a different thing.
Okay. So yeah, in terms of ports, I think Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Fortnite, Paladins are kind of one of the biggest things right now. In terms of ports of Wii U games, I can see with Kamiya being so heavily wanting it, I think Wonderful 101 would probably get ported, and then have an announcement of Wonderful 102 is coming.
Or at least in production. I could see both of those.
Right.
But Wonderful 101 has been teased on Switch a couple times at this point, I think, hasn't it?
Yes.
Honestly, I think it's probably more that we get, say, a sequel, and then like, oh hey, just like Bayonetta 2, you could buy the first game.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you buy it physical, it comes with the download for the original game or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
More ports, I guess Xenoblade X maybe. I could definitely, with how popular Xenoblade has been getting, the fact that Shulk is also represented in Smash, I think more Xenoblade representation will be put on the Switch.
Yeah.
In term, go ahead.
With well, I mean, do you think it would be announced and then still coming out like this year? Because they still have like a whole bunch of DLC for Xenoblade 2 to still do, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
That is true. Yeah.
Which they also might show
with
this.
Yeah, I think they might hold it off then, just to not cause too much of an uproar with the fact that you're porting this game, but you still have more content still coming out for your first game. I think that'd be pretty weird to do. So maybe they might hold it off until maybe a direct. Any other ports? I can't.
What about Pikmin 3? Because Pikmin 4 is still MIA for the last couple of years, and I am wondering if they would put 3 on the Switch to give more people a chance to experience that one before moving on.
I can see that.
As I know, there are certain times where Miyamoto will say things where he's not that he's not supposed to say it, but it's that he kind of says it without it being planned.
Yeah.
And I kind of think Pikmin 4 was one of those things.
I agree there, honestly.
Yeah.
And if it is shown off at E3, I won't be too surprised, as people have been wondering about what's the deal with it, as it was announced a few years ago now. Mm-hmm. But I kind of don't see it being planned for E3. Maybe for a direct, but I kind of a later direct. But yeah. I kind of, because of the fact that we haven't heard anything about this, and yet like we've heard about Yoshi just being announced, but we haven't heard anything else about it since then. We've heard about Pikmin 4, but all we had was just word of mouth, and we haven't seen anything of it. Fair. So it doesn't seem fair at that point, I guess, to show Pikmin 4 and never even have it officially announced. But yet you have Yoshi already announced, yet you haven't shown anything for it.
Yeah, they better show more Yoshi. Unless this is going to be another situation with Woolly World where it disappears for a couple years and then it comes back looking completely different.
Also, on the note of 2D platformers, do you think we're going to get, I don't think it's going to get, like, a long portion for obvious reasons, but I think they might, like, reveal one of the next Kirby, Star Allies DLC characters who've already been leaked.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they would do anything with that aside from, like, one trailer showing all of them in, like, release date. Unless they do a release date for the next 2 waves of it, being waves 2 and 3.
I'm talking more about like a 30-second thing.
Oh, yeah, I could probably see that happening. Or maybe even like some Treehouse representation for it. Yeah. If they want to show it for a little while.
Yeah. But I don't know about just an overall like 30-second trailer revealing a specific character. I'm not going to say who that is because I was dating my out. But if there was like, for example, we already have Dorks and Dark Meta Knight revealed from the Twitter. I can see them doing a recap trailer of that and the third character and saying, oh yeah, these are all in Wave 2 and it's out like, I don't know, end of this week, next week, something like that.
Also, this is totally off the side, but Konami announced that they have 2 separate titles that they're bringing to E3. Mm-hmm.
That's right. There was a compilation that was found on the E3 planning for Konami.
Okay.
And so that definitely could be one of the things that they show off, I think. Mm-hmm. What a compilation of maybe Metal Gear or Castlevania, that's kind of what people are kind of saying Castlevania more.
Yeah.
But I think Metal Gear might be the one that they choose to do.
Yeah. Well, they've also been on a kick for Castlevania lately. I'm pretty sure the Netflix show just got renewed for another season as well.
It got renewed for a 3rd season, and the 2nd one isn't out yet.
Wow, really? Okay.
And what's crazy is that the initial plan was that I think the 2nd season and the 1st were just going to tell the one story. So I don't know. You know what? But that will be for when Spazzy and I have our next chat about that. But yeah, Castlevania is definitely bigger. I think that like an NES compilation would make sense. I think like an Igavania one that connected like Symphony of the Night and the Aria of Sorrow on the DS games makes sense.
I guess in terms of the last thing I want to say in terms of a direct was that you guys had mentioned was it a new Super Mario Brothers port? I don't think Nintendo would port a new game.
Okay.
That was supposed to be a joke. I don't think they would port a new game. I don't think they would port a new Super Mario Brothers game because that kind of defeats the purpose of calling it new. So, if a new game ends up getting like announced, I don't think it'll be I gotta be more specific about this. If a new Mario game is announced, I don't think it'll be a port. I think it'll be a new game.
Yeah, I would rather.
I agree.
So I think that's all I really have to say about Nintendo E3. I'm expecting a lot of things. I'm also expecting some surprises.
Oh yeah.
Because as the Switch was just coming out last year, there was a lot of surprises. With the fact that we have the Switch out for like a year now, and it is one of the fastest selling consoles in America. I think there definitely will be a lot of eyes on Nintendo for what they can reveal. That's outside of Smash, or at least elaborate on releases and information for like Metro Prime 4, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, and maybe because last year when they announced Pokemon at the recent conference that they had, at the press event that they had, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee weren't the games that they were talking about at E3.
Right.
So considering the fact that it seems like they're now mentioning E3 a lot more. I think that it's possible we could see maybe a little something of Pokemon 2019 at E3. I highly doubt it, but I think it would be nice to show that off.
I think there's a chance. Not a big one, but a chance in general.
Right.
Wolfman, what about you for any, I guess, final things for specifically Nintendo's Direct?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a few small indie games being represented, both like outsider indie games and small projects within Nintendo. I think you could see a Box Boy compilation on Switch.
Oh, please.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Yeah, I think we could see more of... We'll probably see a little more of Sushi Striker, which is good because that looks super fun.
I don't know. That comes out on, like, as of recording this tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that
Does it really?
Yeah, that comes out this week.
I need to pay more attention to
apparently it's listed as like coming out like before E3.
Never mind. Then.
Before recording, there's all like reviews and everything for it coming out already. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get like at least one, probably two more like big budget like AAA releases for ports.
Okay.
I don't know what they are. We've talked about that Resident Evil 7 Cloud thing. Maybe like a physical release of that. I don't know. It's something. Or some two things at least. And a new IP that won't get a lot of representation that will look pretty cool and people will not really focus on it as much because it smashes out, but then it turns out that that new IP turns out to be really cool. And then people spend the next 5 years demanding it be included in Smash.
Yeah, basically. That'll end up happening as usual. Alright, I have two questions. One specifically about Nintendo's Direct, and then one about Nintendo's presence at E3 in general. I'll start with the Direct one. And this is... This ties into because I have a history of Mario Party here at Source Gaming. Do you guys think there's a chance we'll see either Mario Party 11 or something related to Mario Party?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Mario Party is fairly popular. Certainly, it makes sense to have a party game on the Switch because 1-2 Switch apparently is not super popular amongst people who remember
Big
it.
surprise! I wonder why.
I thought it was cool.
It is interesting, honestly.
It's
That's not $60.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically like a dry run for a WarioWare. But yeah, I do think we'll see Mario Party, or we may see Mario Party.
I'm personally really, really hoping we do. That's one thing I really want to see out of this. Because I believe this year's Mario Party's, I think, 20th anniversary. So I'm hoping something special for that happens. But we did just have Mario Party Top 100 on 3DS last year, so I don't know. The other thing I want to ask is, do you guys think they'll reveal any new amiibo?
Yes.
Overall in their presence at E3. In previous years, they're not always done in the show. Some of them were just put on the website.
I think they will be. I think we'll definitely be seeing new amiibo. Makes sense. They're still selling. I'm thinking there might be something from... Smash, for fairly obvious reasons, probably will.
Right.
I think something from Pokemon Let's Go probably will.
Like a special Pikachu and Eevee?
Yeah. Maybe something from Metroid Prime, or if that gets... like the Metroid Prime or Fire Emblem or Bayonetta 3 if those get shown.
The Pearl and Marina amiibo come out next month, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think
that's
with
right.
the Octoling expansion, maybe like an Octoling amiibo.
Okay.
Yeah.
That probably would get shown off, and the fact that Mega Man 11 is also getting its own special amiibo for Switch, I think there's room for amiibo, but I don't think I think it really does depend on what gets shown off
Right.
at E3. Because if, like, I can definitely see like a papercraft or a cardboard Yoshi amiibo.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Come out.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
So, yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, it's probably good. It should note, like, I think we could probably agree that they won't be shown with anything more intensive than, say, showing the Wedding Bowser and Wedding Peach and Wedding Mario, and at the Super Mario Odyssey thing, and just saying, oh yeah, here are these. That's it.
Well, even then, E3 2016, where they showed all the Breath of the Wild ones during their whole Breath of the Wild showcase, they didn't actually show all the amiibo they had, because they had a whole set of new they had like the Wave 2 Mario amiibo come out that year as well for, I think it was Mario Party Star Rush, but they didn't talk about them at all. They were just put on the website, displayed as like, oh look, other new amiibo coming. So they could always do something like that again, I think, if they don't want to make it like a major deal. Alright, so I think that covers it specifically for Nintendo's Direct. So why don't we now dive into the next biggest thing, which is specifically Smash Bros.
Oh, I thought this was going to be Overcooked 2.
The best bit. I mean, if Overcooked 2 for Smash, that'd be great. No, I don't know anything about Smash. I'm just joking at this point.
There is one thing I'd actually like to say from the start. It's gonna take just a minute, so I'm sorry.
No,
so, okay, so we really can't, like, you know, as far as we can actually use, like, predictions or guesses to go forward, I would say, like, we can't really look at the Melee trailer because that wasn't really shown off to a wide audience. That was kind of vague. Obviously, that was in 2001, so internet, like, the availability of videos to watch was not regular.
Right.
So, like, I think the one that we can start with is, say, Brawl gets announced 2005. I don't think that is the name they showed with it. Brawl gets first shown in 2006. And we get, Mario, Link, Kirby, Pikachu, and Samus, though it's sort of vague as to whether Samus is in the game. And then we get 5 newcomers. Meta Knight, one of the most, like, popular and most wanted characters at the time. Pit, another highly requested character. Zero Suit Samus, obviously not a huge surprise, but one that sort of made sense to represent the final Smash mechanic.
Yep.
Although we didn't know it yet. Wario, but also Wario, and specifically his WarioWare shirt, to sort of show that he was representing, not just representing Mario. He was kind of representing his own thing. And then Snake, who was at the end to completely shock everyone. Because that was, and kind of just blew out the water of anything I think any of us had really expected. Any of those of us who were watching really expected. Then E3 2007 doesn't exist because they temporarily replaced it with something called E for All, where they showed Sonic. Meanwhile, fast forward. E3 2012, Smash gets announced to be being made for the Wii U and 3DS. 2013, we get, Mario, Link, Samus, Pikachu, Kirby, Bowser, Fox, Pit, some of the most obvious choices you'd have.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you get
Villager, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Villager was the first character shown technically because it opened on him getting the letter.
Yeah. And so Villager was not necessarily one of the most requested characters, but Animal Crossing and the Wii, like sort of the Wii sub-franchise, were like the biggest Nintendo franchises that had yet to be represented.
Yeah.
And then we get Mega Man, the incredibly, probably the most requested third-party character after Sonic. And then we get Wii Fit Trainer, which, represents, obviously, that Wii part, but is completely out of the blue.
The Wii, basically.
Yeah. Then, E3 2014, we get the Mii's, we get Palutena, who represents the customization.
Yep.
And then we get Pac-Man. So each one we get one third-party character. So every one of these we get one third-party character. And also, we often get this kind of crazy surprise character. And we get a character who often can represent like a new mechanic or a new element. And then, of course, E3 2015, the day before, we got Roy, Ryu, and Lucas all kind of dumped on at once.
Yep.
Right.
So
exactly.
I think going into this, we have to consider that what we may see. Like, I think we're going to see at least one very strong surprise character. I think and we may see a character who represents a new mechanic or a new idea.
Right.
But I also think, and we're going to see almost certainly a third-party character of some sort. But I think what we're also going to get is, I think outside of that, all of the characters who are going to be shown are probably characters who are the most, like, obviously popular, the most, like, widely requested. So, like, for instance, you know, there's that rumor that Ridley might show up. Which, of course, you hear that rumor every year.
Yes.
And, like, Ridley would be, like, an ideal, like, character to highlight at E3. Because his popularity is mammoth. A character like, I think a character, like the Inklings would have made sense had we not, you know, seen them already. It's hard really to fully see. It's you know, hard to really think of like a character who would obviously hit that right now. At least one owned by Nintendo, but that's, I mean, but I guess the point, here is that we're probably going to see very, very, very major characters.
Yeah.
And so I don't necessarily know what we do with this, but
Well, I think one of the important things to note with this is the fact that, I mean, Smash is their big focus this year. Meaning, I don't think it's going to be like some other directs, or like some other E3s for Smash 3DS and Wii U where all the reveals were just within the presentation itself. I think we can get one or two of those new characters revealed in the presentation, and then if we do stick to just 3 newcomers revealed, I can almost guarantee... I personally feel like it's extremely likely that the tournament is going to end on a character reveal, and then maybe even somebody coming out and playing on stage with this new character.
Oh, definitely. That's actually what they did with Pac-Man. They showed him off initially in a closed room where they did an interview with Sakurai. And he played Pac-Man, and everyone else played, I think, Mario, Mega Man, and Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. So something like that, but on the tournament, I think would be massive.
Yeah, that seems very, very likely. And it should also note that whatever we see in the tournament is almost certainly not going to be the whole roster for the game.
No, I doubt that.
Yeah, so like if...
It might be the same demo roster that'll be available at all demos of the game, though.
Yeah, I think that's probably likely. And it's worth noting that even the demo that they had at E3 didn't include like 10 of the characters that they had announced, because it didn't have Ike, it didn't have Charizard, it didn't have Lucario, it didn't have it didn't have Bowser, or no, it did have Bowser. But
and also the roster between the 3DS demo and the Wii U demo were also different, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they subbed out Link for Toon Link, Zelda for Sheik, and a couple other people.
Yep. But in regards to what we'll see this time, I think because it releases this year, they need to show a lot. So
yes,
it really just depends on, I think, when because they have to announce the release date during like sometime before E3 ends. That needs to be out there, or else people are going to lose faith in that 2018 release, I think.
Yeah.
On top of having that release date definitively announced, I think having that will determine how much else they reveal, not just even for the rest of E3, but also just between now and its release.
Yeah. It does make me wonder if...
there, but
No, it does make me wonder if we're going to see another daily vlog. I'm guessing no, just because it's so recent from the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think
I'm really mixed on. Oh, go ahead.
No, but I do think we'll probably see something at least like a semi-regular appearance.
I'm really mixed on how Smash is going to be handled this year, because like you guys said, this game is coming out this year, and how you mentioned earlier that they mostly have just one third-party character.
Yeah.
But if this game is coming out this year, it really does. I really think that this is. Well, first of all, I think this is going to be like a fall title. I think this is going to be at least September, October, November.
Yep.
One of those 3 months, definitely. And then I think at that point it would be the best for them to release new content each month until that release date.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with what they can announce initially at E3, a release date is what the first thing I'm expecting. We're already gonna see gameplay, so I'm like, we're most likely gonna see different modes, or at least word of different modes that they'll have in this game. What the game itself will look like.
I mean, we're going to have a tournament level gameplay, which is crazy to think about because, like, this is so weirdly different from how we're kind of used to this. I was actually looking like a month or so ago on the old, like both the old Brawl Dojo and the Sakurai's Miiverse Director's Room. And one of the interesting things that I found is that, like, we often talk about how, like, slow of a trickle it is, but it was actually fairly steady, both of them.
Yeah, it was actually pretty steady with information. I think, obviously the Miiverse was a lot, was a lot steadier, but, because that was, like, daily, but I think, wasn't, like, the Brawl Dojo, like, at least once a week?
It was once every weekday.
Okay, yeah, so that was still pretty often.
Yeah, like I checked, there was at least in Brawl, at least one character, veteran or newcomer, announced per month. I think there was 1 month where it wasn't the case, and in a lot of months it was 2 characters. In Smash for Wii U, there was only 1 month where not a single new character was shown, and that was March, which is before the April Direct that introduced 5 new characters and tons of new stages. Yeah.
So I think so if we're going if it might follow that format, I think what they could do is everything they revealed at E3, which is honestly going to be a lot of content, spend like, starting the week after E3, let's say, start updating the website with daily information, but rather like more, I guess, detailed information on what we already know each day, and then each month something new. Yeah. Something bigger new. I think that might be a good way of going about it then. Yeah, but we really are in completely unknown territory, which is really exciting. Yeah.
It's exciting, but completely scary.
Because...
And... go ahead.
I was going to say that, like, I guessed a little around, like, half the characters who got into Brawl. I guessed a little under than half the characters who got into Smash Wii U. I have no idea, like, who I feel comfortable, like, predicting. Like, no one at all. Like, there's literally not a single character that made me, like, that I felt, like, certain about in the way that I felt certain about Lucario, or Toon Link, or Palutena, or Little Mac. What about you two? Any, like, on your that you, like, feel, like, actually secure about? I'm not even just asking just for, like, who you think is going to be in, although I do want to hear that. It's just, I'm wondering how, like, you two are necessarily necessarily approaching this compared to me.
Well, I'll go first. I'll keep it kind of brief. For me personally, I started noticing the trend that was going on with Smash 3DS and Wii U, where they tied character reveals into whether they were returning or new into like game releases that were happening, such as Toon Link being revealed. In my opinion, really early on. He was revealed. He was revealed when Wind Waker HD released. Yes. And then there was more like that as time went on, and kind of like what characters started to stand for. I feel like, personally, not just because he's my main, but I think Toon Link is a safe stay. That I don't know if we'd see him early on or if he unlocked, but I do think he's going to be a character that's definitively there because he represents that whole other side of the Zelda series.
No, I think Toon Link matters for that reason.
Yeah, I have no idea about like any other like Zelda cast that are getting reworks, or any other characters in general that are getting reworks. I feel like there's also a chance that the entire roster could completely like shake us up, but Toon Link is a character I'm confident in coming back, and was not also one of the characters people were picking out of those silhouettes, which is why I'm also naming him. What about you, Phantom Z2?
Oh man, it's the biggest thing about Smash about Smash Switch being announced was the fact that when it was first announced with the Inklings, before I even want to say that, when Cloud and Bayonetta were revealed, Bayonetta was one of my ballot picks, so I was completely hyped for that. But when Cloud was revealed, I was completely surprised. It completely threw me off.
Mm-hmm.
But when Smash was just revealed with the Inklings, I first thought that was going to be like a movie or something else Splatoon related, not Smash related. And I had lost my voice from screaming so hard after I saw that trailer.
Oof.
So now that we're at this point where Smash is about to be revealed in like 5 days,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I don't think we actually mentioned this, but if you're in New York, there will be demos of Smash that you'll be able to play, and on the day on the day of the invitational, they're letting you play like Smash an hour before the invitational starts.
Yep.
So, with all of this coming up, with all of the fact that we're about to have like a whole blowout of information from Nintendo about Smash, I'm honestly the most scared I have ever been about a video game, because I was originally already worried about what Pokemon would be doing this year, because
Mm-hmm.
I was already on high beliefs that there won't be a Direct this year, and there wasn't. Which, okay, I was correct, but it's like I still didn't expect Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. But I was already very defined on the fact of the next mainline game, which, even though Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are mainline games, the Gen 8 title would be 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It is 2019.
Yeah, which I think is fine.
I've never felt so, not empty, but I've never felt so in the dark about something other than like I have been for Smash Switch. I've never been fully unaware of what could possibly happen. Because at this point, I want to go in blind, but there's also so many things that I want to expect from this game. But I think no matter what happens, I'll end up loving it, and then still being like, okay, but I want more.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of the inherent like danger with Sakurai's artistic creation style is he wants you to have like something for everyone, but it almost feels never enough. But then again, I've always been satisfied by each one, but it's always like the next time.
Do we have any final thoughts regarding Smash Bros? Maybe like something we really want to see from it, or just not even characters, just in general something we really hope it does, or anything like that?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see some characters cut. I don't. As much as I know people will say that, why would you cut any characters? Everybody should get into Smash. I want to see some characters cut and replaced with other characters.
Like who?
And I think that'll be the most. Okay, so actually, I think I have a list, but I'm always a bit mixed on it.
Oh man.
Duck Hunt Dog, Sheik, Jigglypuff, Lucario, and Wii Fit Trainer.
Huh.
I think those are the main 5 characters I want to see get cut.
I want all of those to stay. I think that every single one of those characters is really important for Smash, and just I don't want to see any franchise represented by a single character get cut with that character.
Right.
I think that with the Ice Climbers, that was kind of tragic inevitability, but I don't think that's something that we should generally try to emulate.
Right.
I think, of the original 12 characters, Jigglypuff makes the most sense, but by this point, she's kind of Smash royalty.
Yeah. And that's I understand that people say that she's Smash royalty, but it's okay, but what does Jigglypuff do? What does Sheik do? I get that these characters are longtime favorites, and I doubt that they'll be removed. But if any characters were to get removed, these are the characters that I want to see removed the most, because I think in terms of Pokemon, even though Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are based off Gen 1, I think we kind of have too much Gen 1 representation in Smash. Even no matter what, even though Gen 1 is the start of everything for Pokemon.
Well, yeah.
I want to see some things change. I want to see other generations get represented in terms of Pokemon. And in terms of Sheik, I don't want her to completely be cut, because if if she gets if she's like based off the Breath of the Wild Sheikah outfit that Link has, that'll be fine. I'm like, okay, well, I don't care about whether she gets cut or not, but she hasn't really been doing anything other than Smash.
Would it be worth pointing out that Ocarina of Time is one of the most important games of really all time? And that, while obviously, you have a lot of things representing it, having like an actual character who specifically represents that game, I think is actually really important. It's kind of important in the way that I think it's...
And I think that... Oh, sorry.
I think it's important in the way that I think it's important that like every Smash game have a stage based on Super Mario Brothers, or every stage, like have some references to like Super Metroid or Metroid 1 or...
And I think that's my biggest issue, because although I'm not a Zelda fan, I don't have any attachment to Sheik because of that. The only attachment I have to Sheik is because of Smash.
Yeah.
And the only Zelda game I played, my first Zelda game, was Breath of the Wild.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that I think that really has to do with why I feel that way, because I don't have any connection towards this character.
Well,
why she's still here, and I guess that's like, really pessimistic for me to say, because there's clearly other characters, there's clearly other people that love that character, but it's just personally for me, I don't really see you as, why are you even here at this point if you're not doing anything even in your own franchise?
Well, I mean, you could also use that argument to cut Ness and Lucas.
I think Ness and Lucas is a different thing, because their franchises are technically ended, but Zelda's still ongoing, but she's not really around anymore. I think that's why I have different feelings towards it, because Ness and Lucas, they're most likely never going to get another game, and I honestly don't think that Mother 3 will ever get localized at this point, with how long Nintendo has been holding out on it.
Yeah, no.
Even though Earthbound Beginnings does exist, I feel like Mother 3, if it were to get announced at E3, that'd be amazingly surprising.
Seem like
but
an E3 announcement.
But it's like every E3, every time E3 comes around, every time a Direct comes around, people are hoping, and like nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
So like that's why I think I have it so differently for Ness and Lucas, is because their series ended. Nobody's really, Shigeru Itoi doesn't really want to continue with that anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you guys have served your purpose, and you guys have that history, so it makes sense for you guys to still be in Smash. Whereas somebody like Sheik, okay, the Zelda series is still ongoing, but yet you're still not really doing you're still not here. Mm-hmm. So it's very, and I think that's the same reason with why I want to cut a Wii Fit, because the Wii is pretty much done at this point. The only real relationship that we have with the Wii is the fact of Breath of the Wild is on the Wii, and the fact that games that are on the Switch are getting commercials on the Wii U. Yeah. So it's like there's nothing really left for the Wii at this point. Although I think that'll be Wii Fit. Rob?
Yeah, I mean Rob.
I think he should get cut too. I only say that though because I'm hard at beating Robs, not because I actually hate, not because of series. I want Rob to get cut because I'm bad at fighting him.
Well, one thing I would say is, to just counter this, is that it seems very likely, if not certain, that Link is getting a redesign based on Breath of the Wild. Like we've seen that, and that looks really good. The thing is, I don't think it's actually gonna drastically change his moveset. He might lose the Gale Boomerang's effect, but he'll probably, and his bombs might be neon blue. But I don't think he's really gonna actually change that definitively.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he still visually would represent Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
And so players who came into Zelda through that game will have Link to kind of. Zelda fans who kind of came into Smash through Breath of the Wild will have that to anchor them. But I think in the same way, you have fans who came into Brawl through Twilight Princess, and they have, presumably Ganondorf will not be that drastically changed visually. And they can have him. Obviously we end up getting characters or series where a lot of the representation goes too far in some directions. There probably is too many Gen 1 Pokemon. but at the same time, like, each character kind of brings with them this history, but also the histories of the people who played those games. So that's why.
Right.
So that's why, like, you know, I've done like tournament, like Smash, like unofficial or unconventional Smash tournaments or parties with people who, you know, they came into this, like, they started playing with the actual NES and they like actually know Duck Hunt, versus like kids who were like super young and they, you know, they knew like Greninja and or knew Pikachu and Greninja from Pokemon, and that was it. And so basically, I guess what I'm suggesting here is that I think it's one of the great things about Smash is that it can have this incredible like history and that behind it, and so everyone can like come in because of their favorite game, but everyone can come out of it with their new favorite games, because, you know, Smash is, you know, I knew about Pokemon and Mario, but when I came out of Smash, I learned about Kirby. And when I came back into Melee, I, you know, started checking out Zelda. I started checking out like Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker and Metroid Prime, and that became, and so I started to kind of it increased my the scope of what I knew and the scope of what I became to love. So that's why I think it's important to keep these kind of like older signifiers.
I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, Smash has done a similar thing for me of getting me to try out other series I never even thought of looking at before until they were put in Smash, like, namely Fire Emblem. Like, when Robin and Lucina were revealed for Smash Wii U and 3DS, I was like, okay, now I need to actually like learn who these characters are. Found a demo for Awakening on the 3DS eShop, downloaded it, later that day went and bought the game, and like, I love Fire Emblem Awakening. And I've gone and done more series like that, but it's just that whole thing of Smash does a great job at not only bringing in fans of the represented series because it's such a milestone for them to make it there, but also it's such an advertisement for these other series that may or may not be as well known as people think they are.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't have played Earthbound without Smash. I wouldn't have played Metal Gear Solid. I wouldn't have played Xenoblade. I went out and a local GameStop had it for like $15, and I bought it and I bought it, I think, like a week after Shulk got revealed. Even though he had been leaked before that point, because I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to check this thing out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's why, like, also it's great to have, like, you know, the assist trophies that represent all these kind of, like, obscure Japan-only characters. Or,
yep, exactly.
Like, or not just Andros, but, like, Andros' weird-ass polygonal form. So there's my soapbox. Off it I go.
Alright, so do we have any final thoughts regarding Smash or anything that we've mentioned thus far that we want to go into? Because based on time, we might want to call it soon.
Yeah.
Right. I guess for my last words, it would just be, I hope this E3 is wonderful, and I hope there are big announcements that really make me question how my wallet will be able to handle it.
Oof, I completely understand that sentiment.
Yeah. It's like, all it takes is just that, like, the one trailer, the one, like, thing.
Yep. Smash will definitely be that trailer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm personally just really hoping that this E3 blows everything out of the water like everybody's anticipating it to. And I think it has enough potential to do so. Not even just for Nintendo, but just all across the board. I think, in general, this could be a really, really strong E3.
As for me, I feel like I say this every time we talk about E3 in here. My biggest hope, as always, is to be pleasantly surprised. Yes. I know I've been a bit cynical at here at points, or a bit pessimistic. But, like, it's not because I don't want to see Metroid Prime 4. I do. I really want to see it. And I want to be proven wrong about not seeing it.
Right.
I want Pokemon Let's Go to be as good as I hope it will, and not as mediocre as I fear it could potentially be. But I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. Like, I want if we see a new Elder Scrolls, I want it to be in, like, a drastically new land that puts Skyrim to shame. I want Smash to blow me out of the water yet again, as it has done almost every year that I've seen it with something.
Well, that about wraps up this discussion. If you liked it, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. You can find all of our social media links in the description below. And I want to give a special shout out to our patrons, including our super patron, the Duke of Dorks. You can find a link to his channel in the description below. So thank you all so much for watching these long discussions, and always remember to return to the source.